Hey guys, it is your girl Jade Ashley and I am back with a new video. I am not here for a video of when the beat drops. We'll worry about that next week. But I did want to come on camera and talk about the new Lifetime biopic, Surviving Compton, Dre, Suge, and Michel'le. I've definitely been waiting for this to come out. So it premiered this past weekend and I just have to talk about it. So if you guys are interested in what I have to say about the film, definitely be sure to stay tuned for more. Okay y'all, so we gotta get into this movie. First things first is there was a lot of controversy surrounding this movie leading up to this premiere. We all knew Michel'le was making a movie, and I think like last week news broke, like the start of well, we're still in the same week, but by the time y'all see this, it's gonna be last week. So it's like a week ago, news had broke that, you know, Dr.Dre, he had threatened to sue Sony and Michel'le. He put out a cease and desist basically saying that, you know, if y'all make me out to be a woman beater in this film, I'm going to sue y'all. And a lot of people was like, Dre, but everybody knew you used to be women, so this and that. And Michel'le was like, you know, y'all told y'all story and Straight Outta Compton, it was a good movie, but you know, this is me telling my side of the story and what I want to talk about, you know. So I definitely want to say right off the bat that this is a very learning experience, especially for me. I will say that I do kind of fall victim to my generation sometimes. And what I mean is that I'm only 22, so I was born in the 90s. So like when all of this was like going down, I was like a baby, so I wasn't paying attention to it like I would now. But you know, that's what we have Google for, you know. So I had first found out about Michel'le, or the first time I've ever heard or learned anything about Michel'le was when she was on R&B Divas. That season premiered probably like maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that, R&B Divas LA. So when I had first heard about her, she was like, oh yeah, you know, I got a baby with Dr. Dre and Suge Knight. I was like, what the hell? And then, you know, her voice alone just, you know, captures your attention. And then when you hear her sing versus her speaking voice, you know, so that's attention grabbing within its own. But when I heard her say on camera on R&B Divas that she had a baby with both of them, I was like, let me go to my trusty frankgoogle.com and let me learn about Michel'le. So that's how I learned about her music and all of this other stuff. But to actually see, you know, the everything, because you know, it's always questions, you know, you read about it and you hear, but to actually hear the whole story unfold in front of you, like with a visual. So I was definitely excited to see this, regardless of what Dr. Dre said he was doing, how he said that he was abusing her. I'm like, look, you know, and especially because last year when Straight Outta Compton came out, he ended up making like a public apology to all of the women that he had hurt in the past and stuff like that. Because I remember, I think the journalist, what's her name, D Goods, I think D Goods is her name or something like that, you know, she talked about how he beat her and all of this other stuff. But we're gonna get into the film right now, and I just have to start off with obviously the opening. So basically it took back to it went back to like South Central when she was a little kid. I believe she was raised by her grandmother Mimi, right? So she was pretty much, this movie is basically about her just being abused and overcoming, and you know, that's the whole synopsis of the film, real short and simple. But basically how it was kind of like, you know, written in the script for this film is that she was pretty much raised as far as, you know, she was like, I would never let a man put his hands on me or hit me or something like that. And the grandmother basically told her, if you ever do anything to upset a man to like where he wants to hit you or beat on you, you're supposed to, you know, change that and make it better. And like, she was just raised like, you know, you like, it would be, not that it would be okay, but if it happens, you gotta fix that. You gotta, you know, it's your fault and make it right so he doesn't want to or something. Like, first of all, that domestic violence bullshit, like, no, I'm not. Me personally, my personality and who I am, I'm not with the shits. I'm sorry. We both fighting. That's just the end of it. Like, I'm Tina after she done got some sense. Not before, but, you know, afterwards, and we both just gonna be knucking and bucking, and that's it. That's just me. But this is not about me. This is about Michel'le. So anyway, so that's how she was basically raised. So the whole introduction to the whole N.W.A and all this other stuff, she had grown up. She was working in this store and stuff like that, and she was singing. So their manager, he had overheard her singing, and he was like, oh yeah, my group, they need a singer. The singer quit on them. Come to the studio. Came to the studio, and basically, you know, they were were like kind of laughing because her voice, she got like that real squeaky high-pitched voice that she basically sounds like a, you know, cartoon character. So then when she opened her mouth, that's when they gave her the respect, like, yo, you could really blow. So then the two people that were like attracted to her like right out the gate and when I was trying to get her was Dr. Dre and Eazy-E, according to the film. And you know, out of the two, Dre was the one that, you know, kind of got her attention, and then eventually they became a couple, and right off the back she was dealing with the bullshit. And again, this is not about me, this is about Michel'le, but I just couldn't. So one of the things that she dealt with like straight out the back was the whole baby mama situation. So I think probably like a few months in, you know, he had a girl that was already pregnant, and then like right after her another girl had a baby. So it was kind of like at the start of their relationship he already had 3 kids, and while they were together 2 exes had babies. So he had like a total of 5 babies already right then and there. Me, I'm out. Time to move on. But this is not about me, this is about Michel'le. So yes, so that was it. The 5 kids and stuff like that. But she stayed. Who am I to judge, you know? It's her story. But anyway, so yeah, she basically stayed, and you know, they worked on music, her and N.W.A. She worked on their album and all of this other stuff, and you know, they were basically blowing up, and she was there. And I'm just sitting here watching this movie and like, damn, I remember when that part happened in N.W.A, but she really was not there. Like when we watched the movie, I was like, they really cut her existence out of this film according to her film. So because it was like a lot of things that when you're watching the film, you could be like, oh, I remember seeing that part of Straight Outta Compton. Oh yeah, I remember when they started working with Jerry and they was recording the album. Like I remember certain things from her film happening in their film. It's just that she was not in it, you know? So they really was like really trying to just erase her from like N.W.A history. Like we didn't hear not one thing about Michel'le and Straight Outta Compton. But like I said, this was her telling her side of the story. She said it at the beginning. This is me telling my side, and that was that. So yeah, she was there while they were blowing up and all of this other stuff. But then, you know, with more success, you know, the same, more money, more problems, Dre had the baby mama drama. And then one thing that I kind of noticed is that, you know, even with her success and, you know, with her, you know, blowing up and, you know, doing so great with their records, and then her, you know, getting her solo records and stuff like that, it kind of seemed as if, you know, he was jealous. Not jealous as in, oh, she sang better than me, but I guess jealous as in, you know, just her independence, I guess you can say. So there was a lot of drinking involved that, you know, pretty much kind of sparked that side of him that she didn't see. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's not funny, but I was anticipating that first scene when he was gonna hit her, and only because I knew he said, if y'all make me to look like a woman beater, I'm suing. So I was waiting for that. So when I think the first scene was they was in the studio, he was wilding, disrespecting her, all of this other stuff, you know, drinking, he was mad, he left. So she was home, she was in the bed, dude came home drunk, came in the bed, and nigga just started beating her. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, they going to court. That's the first thing I thought. Because she was like, if he want to go to court, we could go to court. I know my truth. So that first hit, I was like, all right, so they about to go to court. They going to court. They going to court. All right. So, you know, watching the movie and all of this other stuff. And it's just sad. Like, you know Dr. Dre. Like, yo, that's Dr. Dre. But, like, I just felt like, you know, you hear the stories and you read about, oh yeah, he was a woman beater, but it just, I just be like, damn, like seriously, like this was really Dre before Dre is the Dre that he is today. Like it was just so much. It was a very, 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 very toxic relationship, and she kind of felt like, you know, that the life that she was having, you know, he played a significant role in that. So it was kind of like, why would I leave him? And then also she said that she really loved him and stuff like that. And then also I remember a scene between her and Jerry Heller, who was played by Jamie Kennedy, aka Malibu's Most Wanted, aka B-Rad. If you know, Malibu's Most Wanted is one of my favorite movies. But yeah, so it was one scene between her and Jerry Heller where, you know, he was kind of like, you know, why are you dealing with this like abuse and all of this other stuff? And she was basically saying, is this like, you know, my dreams are coming true, and sometimes to make your dreams come true, other things cost. So you know, although she's dealing with all of this abuse and all of this other BS and stuff like that, you know, her dreams are coming true. She's getting what she wants, and she just kind of feels like this is the price I have to pay to, you know, basically be a singer. He had his Ike Turner moments where, you know, he was like, I told you to sing the hook this way, you not singing it how I told you, and when we get home, that's your ass, basically. And I'm just like, damn. I'm like, what year did What's Love got to do with it come out? Did he watch that before he stepped in the studio? Because I was like, this is I'm getting Ike Turner vibes right now. I was getting Ike Turner vibes at certain points, and I was like, all right, homeboy, you need to bring it down. That's how I felt. But other than that, like I said, Eazy-E and them, they pretty much was like encouraging her, like, yo, you don't have to deal with this, like, why don't you just leave him? And, you know, she wasn't with it. So they was like, Jerry Heller, he was like, oh, why don't you, you know, go on tour for MC Hammer? So she went on tour for MC Hammer, was open up, you know, she was saying at the time Dr.Dre was on tour, like N.W.A, they was on tour and stuff like that. So 2 separate tours, time apart. She felt amazing, was gaining her fan base, you know, her record had went gold. You know, back then gold was a thing. You know, gold is not really nothing too much. I mean, no, I'm not gonna say gold is still, you know, but niggas be like, it's platinum or it ain't nothing. But yeah, so she was experiencing all this massive success, you know, was making real friends, you know, career was just going great. Then Dre popped up in a hotel room. She came in like 3 o'clock in the morning. He like, so who you sleeping with? And she was like, what? And then, you know, whatever, eventually, long story short, she was pregnant, ended up pregnant. She didn't want to keep the baby because she was like, you know, I'm not ready for this. Jerry Heller was like, it's, you know, it's your decision. Then, you know, Dre, he was like, oh, you know, it's great, you're not gonna kill my baby. So she had to stay pregnant because he wasn't with the shits, and you know that she was not, you know, she listens to everything that he says. So the part that killed me, one part in this film that killed me was when she came off a tour, off the MC Hammer tour. She was like, oh, Dre was about to finish up, but I wanted to get home before he got home to kind of like, you know, tidy up the house and stuff like that. Because she was the type, yeah, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, this and that. I'm like, again, this is her story, not mine. Wouldn't be me. But, you know, she comes home, it's like candles and all of this other stuff. So she's thinking that, oh, you know, I'm coming home from tour, he's setting this up for me, how sweet. So she hopped in the bed, and it's another chick in the bed, in her and Dr. Dre's bed. And then the girl, you know, slaps her down, and then it cuts to the next scene where her and Dre sitting there talking, and he was like, you pregnant with my baby, you can't be fighting bitches. And she was like, but you moved her into the house. He was like, yeah, it was only temporarily, but you was messing with her, like. And he was like, we are who we are. I'm like, this is not acceptable. Like, I'm like, damn, Michel'le, come on, girl. Like, come on. Why did you have to go? Like, why did you have to deal with this? I just felt so bad for her. Not even about my reaction wasn't even like, damn, she a stupid bitch. Like, my reaction was like, I just felt so bad for her. And it's like, she's just so talented. And I'm like, at this point, it had to be like another way. Like, it just had to be another way. She did not have to deal with it. But then again, she said she was in love. But, you know, after, you know, she had the baby and all of this other stuff, you know, she was pretty much on drugs. You know, she said she was smoking, she was drinking, taking painkillers and all the other pills and whatever. And basically she was saying this was her way of basically coping with the pain that she was, you know, mentally and physically going through while being in a relationship with Dre. Let's talk about the whole Suge Knight situation. Another thing that I was very much interested in watching when it came to this film was, I was like, I really want to know, how in the hell did Michel'le go from Dr. Dre, so Dr. Dre beating the crap out of her and all of this other stuff, to Suge Knight? And I'm like, I know this nigga can't be anybody, so what was going through her head on how this was going to happen? So basically, how the story kind of unfolded was, you know, when the whole Ruthless records were basically coming down, mind you, we seen that part in N.W.A too. You know, they was like, oh, Jerry treating them out of money, Ruthless was falling, I'm going over to death row. Told you, we saw this in N.W.A's Straight Outta Compton. Michel'le wasn't there though, but in her film, of course, she's there. So basically, when the whole Suge Knight, you know, when he started kind of like entering like the film and stuff like that, she made it clear, like, he's a gangster, you know, he gangster, he stay in the street and stuff like that. I'm not interested, I'm trying to stay away from him. But the way that Suge Knight maneuvered his way up into her heart is, everybody could see clear as day that Dr. Dre was treating her really bad. And, you know, he was the nice guy. You know, he was the one that was, you know, basically there. So it was one scene where it was raining outside, it was a bad storm, and by this time he's on death row, and you know, she was like, she called Suge, and she was like, Suge, if you get in touch with Dre, can you call him, because he left me with no money, there's no food in the house, our son does not have his medication, and the lights are turned off. Like, what am I to do? So then it was like, Suge to the rescue. And he came through with his bodyguard, him being the damn bodyguard himself, came through, I guess it was his driver or something, with like groceries and stuff like that. And, you know, was talking to the kid, Marcel, because she was like, you can't even say our son's name, so let me be the one to say the name. Their child's name is Marcel. So he, yeah, just being like that. You sit there, you be like, oh, I was like, is this the part of the film where it's non-fiction? Because I just never would have ever, all the stories we hear about Suge Knight, I would have never imagined him, but I mean, she went from Dr. Dre to Suge, so something like this had to happen to convince her. So that's how one way he helps her. Another way he helps her is that he actually like put her in rehab. So, you know, he was basically saying that, you know, I can help you get help. Like, you know, just make sure you just tell nobody where you're going. You just need to, you know, sober up and get clean. And she did that. Her son stayed with the grandmother. And then once she finally got clean and stuff like that, he was like, are you ready to make music? And she was like, yes, I'm definitely ready to make music. Encouraging her to, you know, like get back in the studio and all of this other stuff. So, you know, she was happy. And Dr. Dre, turns out that homeboy got engaged as soon as she left. I'm like, damn. Basically, long story short, the summary of Dr. Dre's character in this film was, he ain't shit. He ain't never been shit past like the first week they dated, basically. So that was the summary of it all. So eventually, you know, she got with Suge Knight, and she was like, I did not get with him or sleep with him to get back at Dr. Dre, and I did not get with him or sleep with him just because he was being nice to me and helping me. This was just something that I wanted. So one part in the film I could not believe was Suge Knight, he punked Tupac at one point in time. He told Pac, yo, your record was not that good, or it ain't gonna go on the radio, or whatever. I was just like, I know he couldn't have punked Pac in real life. I believe that part was fictional too. I refuse to believe that happened. I don't think that happened. Long story short, but anyway, so after the whole Tupac shooting happened, and, you know, unfortunately Pac passed away, you know, Suge Knight, he had to go to jail for like 5 years or some shit like that because he violated his parole, because we all know that prior to that shooting happened, they were in Vegas, I believe, and it was like a fight that happened in the lobby. So by him being caught on camera fighting, he violated his probation and he had to go locked up. So long story short, Suge Knight turned Michel'le to his ride or die chick. He had her coming through every weekend. He had, like, because, you know, he was paying for stuff, you know, and the house that she was living in was in his name. He had security, and she was helping him run death row. He was giving her like $30,000 a week, and it was like mandatory that she came to see him every single weekend. Like that was the deal, and that's what they was going with. And basically he turned her into his down ass bitch, and like she was kind of feeling like kind of trapped because she couldn't talk to certain people, couldn't be around certain people. And he was like, look, you know, certain people out there that's trying to kill me, and one way they're going to try to get to me is to get to you, and this and that. And I'm like, well, what the hell she expect? You know, she sat here and said he a gangster, he's still in the streets, so when you with this, you know, it's repercussions to the situation. So she should have saw this coming. That's just my thoughts and stuff like that, but whatever. So at one point in time, you know, while he was in jail, he was like, oh, I think we should get married. She was like, oh, I thought that you were married. No, I'm divorced. So he basically convinced her that he was divorced, only for him to still be married. So their marriage was never real. And yeah, he eventually got out. Shit went downhill. Well, shit was going downhill while he was in jail, but you know, the whole nice guy act that she claims happened, and that's how he got her. You know, that kind of went downhill, and he was kind of, he had this kind of like, I own you type of mentality when it came to her. You know, they had a baby, they had a daughter. He beat the crap out of her, and you know, she didn't want to, you know, really snitch and tell the cops and stuff like that, but she ended up getting pregnant. They had a daughter together, Bailey. I remember the kids' names, yes, Bailey. And long story short, she just one day stood up to him and was like, I don't need you, I'm not scared of you, and I'm just do it on my own. And then she sung a song at the end when she talked about how she survived and survived in Compton. And there you have it, the film, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I thought it was a good film. You know, we kind of always, you know, criticize Lifetime biopics, but I think we only criticize the ones that have absolutely nothing to do with the artist themselves or like their people. So I mean, the only other biopic they had with the participation of the person was Toni Braxton. So you know, but you know, obviously Michel'le, she was in this film, and you know, she kind of like narrated the whole thing, and she popped up in certain scenes and stuff like that. So I mean, overall, I thought it was good. I was waiting for the part where it was like R&B divas, and I was like, so where R&B divas at? But then I remembered the name of the film is called Surviving Compton, Suge, Dre, and Me, or it was about just that whole relationship situation. So if I had to give it, if it was 5 stars the max, I would probably give this film 4.5. Just because I like biopics, especially when it comes to like artists. So like biopics, you know, behind the music, unsung, stuff like that, I love. So I treat it like a history lesson, music history lesson. So like I said, I fall victim to my generation. So I had knew about some things after, you know, learning about her R&B divas and like reading it. But to just get that visual, to like just kind of like understand her side of the story. Because like I said, was a lot of shit that happened in Straight Outta Compton that happened in her film. When you look back at Straight Outta Compton, she was nowhere to be found. But yeah, if you guys checked out the film yourselves, definitely be sure to comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. If you agreed with any of my thoughts from this film or disagreed or whatever the case may be, definitely start a discussion below in the comment section. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I will see you guys next time. So bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to share and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.